Welcome to the Black Doctor Collective podcast. We as Black doctors are in a unique position. We can change our communities, healthcare, and the world. Of course, we start by changing the way we see and value ourselves. I'm your host, Dr. Shanika Horn, pediatrician and physician coach, travel extraordinaire. I am so happy to have you here and listening. So let's get into it. Good morning and welcome back to the Black Doctor Collective podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Shanika. I am getting ready for work and I'm like, working is so ghetto, y'all. Like, how did we get born onto earth where all the things we need are free? And instead of enjoying the bounty, we've signed up for things like taxes and abusive workplaces and burnout. Like, what even is this life? I don't even know. Anyway, it's actually funny because last week, I was supposed to record this episode last week and I just was not feeling my best. And I think part of my burnout and part of my new strategy for avoiding future burnout or worsening the burnout I'm in is to honor my body and not do things just because I'm checking a box, right? So like my podcast is supposed to be weekly. And normally, like last year, I would have pushed myself. I would have been like, I got to publish. I got to get this out. Come hell or high water. I'm doing it. And that's exactly why I ended up taking like this whole several months break from the podcast because I was tired. Like I was struggling. Okay. Struggle bust. So I'm not doing that this year. Sorry. I'm going to try my best to get episodes out on Tuesdays, but like sometimes life is going to life and sometimes I'm just going to need a break. And I'm trying to teach myself not to be guilty about taking those. And I'm not trying to do all the things where I batch and load so that there's always something and then I'm always producing and creating. Like creation should not come from pressure, like not that kind of pressure to just uphold, just to put something out here. And I think that's what social media and YouTube and all these things have promoted is this algorithmic way of living. And I am not an algorithm. I'm not a computer. Okay. I'm not AI. Thank you. So funny also, I'm going through this process of transitioning at work. As if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I am transitioning out of my medical director role and I'm trying to figure out what's next for me, right? I've kind of put down coaching. I spent, I don't know, a couple years here talking about my coaching program and offering coaching. And I still think that is so important. I think everyone should negotiate for what they do. I am at the phase of my life where I am trying to figure out what's next for me, what's going to give me fulfillment. So I've put coaching down. Don't know if I'm going to pick it back up, but I've definitely put it down. And I keep thinking about how I got here, how I landed here in the burnout. And I'm like, what would life be like if I was just less ambitious? Like, who decided ambition was like this amazing trait besides capitalism? Because genuinely, I'm having this moment while trying to figure out what to do next. And in my reflection, I'm like, I need a goal. Like, I need something to say that I'm doing next. And I'm happiest when I have this challenge and I feel like I'm doing well at the challenge. And I like variety, right? I don't like to be bored, period. And I like something big that takes energy and I can devote time to and it be a challenge, right? Hence, I have like 1,000 plants, right? I don't have 1,000 plants, God forbid. That would be too much for me. And I would no longer enjoy it. But I like a challenge where I can see my progress over time and I have markers for my own success on what that progress looks like, right? So like today, one of my plants is starting to flower and they're generally unpredictable in terms of how long it takes for them to flower. And I feel so good about that. Okay. Like I did a little dance. I was on Instagram this morning dancing in my stories because I love a challenge, right? Like I love something that is complex, has multi parts that I need to solve for. And that's why I became a doctor. Is it sadism? Masochism? Which is the one where you torture yourself? Anyway, right now, I feel like I don't have that. And so for the last couple of weeks, I was feeling really, really down about it. Like aimless, purposeless. I'm not doing well, almost like talking to myself like if I was a failure, right? And I was in my brain, I was repeating all the things that I had not been successful at. That's a slippery slope, y'all. Thank God for people in my support group because people had to yoke me up a little bit. But anyway, clutch the pearls. My brain was like, okay, you're doing all this. You're doing the most, and then you're judging it the most. Like, why are you like this? Which is another judgment. Okay. And my brain was asking me, like, why can't you be happy doing the least? I had a friend in college who used to make this joke that was like, why couldn't I have been happy as like a CVS cashier? Like, no need for college, no need for grad school, because most of my friends are like multi-degree Black women, right? Like, it's so ridiculous. Not ridiculous. Obviously, people are successful, but like, we are all overachievers, whatever the job is, whether you have any form of a degree and they're just always trying to do a lot in their career. They're the top, they're the leaders, they're moving firms, they're doing it, like, they're movers and shakers, right? Which is why we're friends, because birds of a feather. But she had asked, why can I be happy as a CVS cashier? And that used to be a running joke for a long time in some of the girls I used to hang out with, like post-college and post-college. Was like, Lord, one day, please grant me just the ambition to just want to do nothing, right? Because I would love to stay at home. Like, there is a large portion of my brain that literally just wants to stay at home. And it is in direct conflict with the part of my brain that wants this big, complex goal, multifaceted achievement that I go after. Like, they're at odds. Wanting a life-shifting, altering goal, constantly needing the sense of accomplishment is exhausting. Like, I would love to just feel accomplished with what I have. Like, I want it to be a destination, not a journey right now. Like, I want to have arrived. Whatever the arrival feeling is that everyone's always seeking, I want to feel that now. And the thing is, a lot of the things that I've accomplished were things that I was struggling to arrive at. And I got there, but then the goalpost moved. I move the goalpost, society moves the goalpost. The goalpost is just always, it's like the dangling carrot. It's always hanging over your head, but you never quite get to it. And that is honestly, I think, part of the burnout, part of this feeling of unfulfillment. I think the other part of it is when you are on this journey and you're not hitting the markers or things are not linear. Like, I like things to be linear and orderly, right? I hit this goal and then the logical next step is this, which is why I got to medicine. It was so easy. The roadmap was there. I went to undergrad. I had a certain degree. I did certain classes. Went to med school, check box. I did my clinical rotations, check box. I applied for residency, checks box. You know what I mean? Like, it was things became rocky when I had to decide my own path. Like, it just gets harder and harder, actually. And you would think it would be the other way around, where it gets easier and easier. It's not, no, what's going on here? But this is not what I signed up for. And so each time because I'm digressing, but each time I get to the point where things are not going in that linear fashion, there is grief. There's like some expectation that is not met, and I feel really, really sad about it. And I wasn't expecting to feel that here and now in this transition because it's my choice, right? It's my choice. I mean, obviously things are not going as I wanted them to go. So there's a grief in that. And then I chose to step away. And part of my brain wants to be like, why can't you just be happy where you are? Why can't you just appreciate it for what it is? Because there are so many things about this job that check the boxes for me, right? Like, I work 2 days a week clinically. As a medical director, I'm making a bulk of the decisions. The other bulk of the decisions that I really wanted to make are the reasons why I'm leaving that I'm not allowed to make, right? But so much of my life is in my control. Like, I make the schedule for the entire staff, including myself, right? Like, I make my vacation time. I have ultimate flexibility in how much vacation I take, when I take it, because I'm the one putting it in and approving it. And even then, I'm so regulated, so indoctrinated into the sense of responsibility that I don't even abuse those things, or I don't even really take advantage of those things. Because when I look at my leave in comparison to like other people's leaves, I'm still, even though I travel a lot, I'm still trying to do it as responsibly as possible, but no one's looking. I don't know whose standards I'm trying to uphold, but that's what I've been doing. I have been, even though I'm in control, even though I got the reins of the control, and this is true for my personal business, for my clinic business, for any of my hobbies, even though I decided, I negotiated my way into getting the reins, and then I operate in the same way that I've been taught to operate, because that is my operating system. Like that's my programming, right? And so now I have to learn how to reprogram. And that just feels like a lot. Like I literally just want to stay at home now at this point because I don't want to make any more decisions. I have decision fatigue. Huh. But yeah, I think I'm surprised to find myself grieving because I've changed my plan. And I think the other component of the grief is that when we take on new roles, like becoming an entrepreneur, like becoming a coach, like becoming a medical director, it becomes part of our identity. And we see ourselves differently as a result of those goals, as a result of those like milestones that we've hit. Because before I became a medical director, I was so nervous about it, just even starting. I had to talk myself into it. I had to be like, okay, this is why I'm going to be successful. This is what prepares me for this role. Let me dig into myself and think about the things that have prepared me for this moment, what experience I have. I had to find the evidence for it. It was not a natural belief. It was not a natural shift in identity. And I know that anybody in the medical journey and in most jobs, right, moving from one stage to another takes an adjustment. It takes sometimes some convincing. Otherwise, most of us feel imposter syndrome. Most of us are experiencing inadequacy, feelings of inadequacy. And it takes some time for us to be in that role to prove to ourselves that we know what we're doing and we know how to do it. Think about your transition from medical school to becoming an intern. An intern, first week, I still remember those feelings. First month, I still remember those feelings of, oh my God, how did I get here? Oh my God, are they going to think I was the wrong choice? I had that feeling in residency when I was called to be a part of a committee for deciding the hospital's EHR system. People see things in me sometimes before I see them in myself. When I was in medical school, I got chosen to be on the, like, be a vice president of student council. And I had just been like a regular student council member, but I was an active participant. I always give insight because I got an opinion on everything. And they were like, oh, do you want to do this vice president role? And I had never considered to myself, and I was shocked. I was like, oh, me? You want me to be a vice president? Okay, sure. That has happened. That happened when I was in residency, to be part of like chairs, to be on committees for things, to go with my attendings and the hospital leadership to, where did we go? Kansas City, which is where Sterner's headquarters are, to be a part of the committee that's helping this transition to a new EHR. Like I have been chosen for a long time in my life for significant roles of leadership, roles where I offer opinion. I was the wellness chair for my program. And still, things like this medical director role come up, and I'm like, you want me to do that? Like, even this, my current practice owner, who we are obviously not getting along that well right now, but we were at an AAP conference, not this past year, the year before, watching the keynote speaker, and not the keynote, the president of AAP was up on the stage doing their intro, welcome to the plenary sessions, welcome to the exhibit halls. And she's like, I could see you doing something like this. And in my mind, I'm like, first of all, that job, that sounds terrible, especially in this political climate, to be the lead position pediatrician fighting against the government and all its infractions on the healthcare system. But just even like, I had not envisioned myself as a person who would participate in like AAP leadership, right? American Academy of Pediatrics leadership. And I'm like, this is just another example where I am a leader in all of the roles that I do, even when that's not my title, and people recognize that in me, but I do not always recognize it in myself. I got to work on that. That is like part of my to-do list. I think because of that, because I don't inherently always recognize my strengths and always give myself credit for the things that I do well and that other people see in me already. When I don't hit a certain milestone, when things don't go as planned, I don't know, it just feels like it's ending on a bad note, and it's confirming for me the things that I think about myself, not what's actually true about me. And then there's a period of grief. And here's another position where I just didn't expect that to occur. I didn't expect to experience the grief. All that to say, 'cause I feel like sometimes I get on here and my path is not so clear again. I like a linear story, and I feel like sometimes when I'm sharing my experience, it's not a linear story. I'm trying to figure out where I want to be. I'm trying to figure out how ambitious I want to be. Because the things that people are suggesting to me right now, I'm like, are you kidding me? You want me to do what? And again, it is multiple scenarios where I have been pitched to run my own practice for the last 5 years. My boyfriend said it to me when we first met, and I was like, he don't know nothing about medicine. I'm not listening to him. And also, I don't want that. I want to be free as a bird. I want to be a stay-at-home. Okay. I did locums. I covered someone's maternity leave for like 3 months. And then less than 3 months, that practice owner was pitching me to open a second practice with them. And he was like, I don't think I would do it by myself, but if you were interested in doing it, like I would totally partner with you for this. I worked in that place 2 days a week. And this man was already pitching me to be a practice owner. So another thing, I have several friends, some of my coaching clients have talked about it. I have several friends who own practices that talk about it. And I'm like, do I even want this thing? I don't know. So right now I'm wrestling with all of the things, all of the possibilities that I could take on. And it comes down to what do I want to do, but also what am I not seeing in myself that I need to recognize so that I can move forward? What am I closing the door to? What am I shutting down possibilities of because I don't see myself in a certain way? It's crazy, the brain. The brain is insane in the membrane, okay? So I'm trying my best to learn because I've been here before, right? This is exactly how I felt when I came out of fellowship or when I was ending fellowship and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to just be a general pediatrician. See, I knew I didn't want to be a general pediatrician. And here I am, and I am not loving it. Okay? I know, I know, I know, I know. Don't doubt yourself. I was here before. And I felt this, and I had this period of uncertainty, and I put everything down. And maybe that's just my process. I don't love that as a process because I like to know what I'm doing next. I like to have an answer to questions. I do not like unanswered questions. I feel very uncomfortable with them. But I have had this experience before where I put everything down and what came out of it was my coaching business, was this podcast, right? Was my Instagram account. Like I allowed myself the space to be creative and to figure out how to fill a gap that even I needed and that I've helped other people fill. So let's see what's next. I'm trying not to shut myself down first. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on it. I think anytime you're in a transition, there's pressure because, of course, like I said, there's a discomfort in not knowing, in wanting an answer, in needing to get paid, in like needing to have a job, right? Like when you're job searching, you don't want to put pressure. You want to find an ideal thing, but you also need your money. So there's like always some kind of time pressure. I talk about this a lot with my therapist, the amount of time related pressure I put on everything. And I think that's related to medical school because everything was timed, right? Like you had to do everything in a period of time that was predetermined. And so while it was great that it was a linear path, I think I have some trauma from trying to do everything the right way in the right time. So I'm trying not to put pressure on it this time. I'm trying to fit in the discomfort of not knowing, but also stay really open to the possibilities and allowing creativity to take root here. Yeah, and not like succumb to feeling fight or fright. Like I want to be kind to myself. I want to be gentle with myself. I want to release the judgment of being burnt out. I was reading a post the other day. This is why I like social media for certain things and podcasts and YouTube. It's because when people express their experience, I'm like, oh, and you can see yourself in it. It helps you put words to the things. So someone said, oh, they've been burnt out multiple times in their career. And I was like, wait, what? Because in my brain, I was like, oh, you did something wrong. You were burnt out before. How did you end up here? Because my brain is Judgy McJudgerson. It was like, how did you end up here? How did you end up burnt out twice, girl? Maybe even 3 times. Who knows? What you doing? Why are you doing this wrong? And to hear someone who's further in their career and doing things that they want to do and constantly changing up how they show up in medicine, from running their own foundation to doing global health things to doing locums work, just constantly pivoting and doing well with the constant pivots. To hear them say that they also burnt out more than once, I'm like, it just released something. It released this pressure of feeling like you messed this up and that you shouldn't still be here because you thought you had it figured out. We don't have nothing figured out. I should know this by now. Adulthood is a complete crapshoot. So I'm going to be gentle with myself. I'm going to forgive myself. I think it's the reason I felt a lot of resistance last year and why I slowly put things down. I think it's the resistance I feel even now, the pressure to constantly create and to maintain my Instagram and this podcast and all of these things, and that nothing good comes out of that kind of pressure. I can always pivot. I can always close things down. I can always start a new thing. Yeah, I can do that. And so can you. So if you are feeling like me, if you are feeling like you're in a transition and you don't have things figured out, I want you to be gentle with yourself, and I want you to be kind to yourself, and I want you to allow creativity to take root. And I want you to do things that allow you to feel creative and balanced. Like, I'm reading books every day. I'm doing puzzles. I'm like meeting people, doing social things. I'm big in my plant community right now. I'm deep in my plant bag right now. My whole April calendar is plant-related activities. So stay tuned to that content on my Instagram because that's what y'all gonna get. And it's gonna be great and fun. But I've literally decided I deserve fun, even though I don't have things figured out. And even though things did not go as planned, I don't have to retreat. I don't have to tap into scarcity. I don't have to freak out and not make plans because one thing is unsettled. I'm going to figure it out and it's going to be good. Anyway, let me go because I want to get a pedicure before work. So bye, y'all. Have a great week. Love to hear from you. Let me know what you guys are going through, thinking about. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, because obviously I can talk ad nauseum about a lot of things. But yeah, come on by. Just drop a comment. All right, bye. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast. And what I want you to do next is link us everywhere you can. Instagram at The Black Doctor. Just become part of our collective. I want you here. Thanks. Until next time. Bye.